Hi, everybody. It's Marjorie Waldo with Culture Under Fire. Today, our episode is talking about song, story, and staying power. I'm with Ann Hampton Callaway, and we're going to talk about the art of performance. Thanks for being here.
It's a joy to be here.
I'm really glad you're here. So the question we asked ourselves is, what allows an artist to keep evolving while still holding audiences around the world spellbound? And this diva beside me does. In this episode, I welcome internationally acclaimed vocalist, songwriter, and performer Ann Hampton Callaway for a conversation about the discipline and imagination and creativity behind a lasting career. From concert halls to intimate stages like at Arts Garage, Ann has built a body of work rooted in musical excellence, wit, lots of funny stuff, and emotional connection. Together, we'll talk about what it means to interpret familiar songs in fresh ways, how an artist sustains a voice over time, and why live performance continues to matter in a fast-moving world. We're going to need more than a half an hour.
I think we'll need a few days.
We'll need to do like 3 versions. So I want to brag about you, right? So I'm going to list a few things,
okay,
and then you can add if there's something you want to make sure that's included. So Ann was born in Chicago, and she studied music there as a young person. You attended the University of Illinois.
I served 2 years there, yes, as an acting major.
As an acting major. Okay,
That's
so there was a
right.
piece missing. I knew that there was painting involved in your life, poetry and songwriting, and singing, amazing performances, okay? You began your career, though, in New York City as a cabaret performer.
That's right.
Okay. You wrote and performed, I think this is awesome, the theme song for the TV series The Nanny. Do you know Fran?
I know Fran very well.
That's great. Did you know her when you wrote it? So that you were able to sort of tailor the song to her?
I met her in the mid-'80s, and she fell in love with my music then at a show, Don't Tell Mama, of original songs.
Yes.
Oh, we have to work together. You're so talented. And then so many songs. We'll talk about it later.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yes.
All right. You started recording albums and you toured internationally since the 90s. You have a Tony Award nomination for Swing in 1999. You were inducted into the Women's Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2023, which is a big deal. And you're a huge supporter of arts nonprofits, health charities, community organizations, often through performance-based philanthropy. Yes?
Yes.
What are your favorite organizations to support? You're in Arizona. You live in Arizona.
I now live in Arizona. I usually perform for all kinds of, there's a huge multitude of, in the early days, AIDS research was a big part of my life. Children's causes, the environmental causes, it's just too large of it. Whenever there's a disaster, I usually write a song about it, and I try to raise money with the song.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's hard to say one particular. And as a breast cancer survivor, I try to support.
I also did not know that.
Surprise, surprise. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a tough one. How long ago was that? How many years?
2012. I caught it early because of a dream I had.
You had a dream.
I had a dream. Yes.
So this makes sense because Ann is a diva in more ways than one. And I've received multiple diva blessings, which always improve my life and its quality.
Diva blessings.
There you go. I got another one. So it makes sense to me that you would have tapped into your...
yes, that's a very big part of my life.
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is? How does that align with creativity, do you think?
I think everybody has intuition, and it's one of the most important parts of who we are. But so often we get trapped in our brains, and we lose that elasticity and sensitivity of the harder to decipher messages that life gives us. And once you allow yourself to realize the importance of your intuition and to experience it in fresh ways, the more you use it, the more you receive from it. And it just continues to infiltrate every part of your life in a very rich and positive way.
I think the word receive is really important because I consider myself an empath, right?
Yes.
I have dreams too.
Yeah.
And they're not usually correct in what has happened, but they result in a phone call from me to whomever I dreamed about.
Right.
And there's usually something that connects and is feels like a reason for that dream, right?
Right. We don't always know why we have these hits, but if we listen to them, we discover and eventually what they're about.
Yeah. A lot of people poo-poo it, and I think it's important. So you play piano.
That's right.
When did you know you wanted to sing? When were you like singing in your mom's belly?
Well, one thing that we haven't talked about is the fact that I am the daughter of divorced parents who were both very creative, very arts-oriented. My dad was a legendary journalist, John Callaway, and a wonderful writer, incredible interviewer, researcher. And my mother was an extremely talented singer, voice teacher, and pianist.
Okay.
So I grew up watching my mom. My sister Liz and I would come home from school, and our mom would be sitting at our upright piano singing "Fish Gotta Swim, Birds Gotta Fly."
Isn't that awesome?
So it was just a normal part of life. And one day in third grade, my teacher, Miss Lawrence, said, "Oh, Ann, you have a beautiful voice." And I was like, I didn't have any idea. It's just, I always sang. My dad sang scat with Ella Fitzgerald records. I started singing scat when I was 3 years old. So I finally asked my parents, like, what does this mean? And, oh, well, you're a Callaway. It's just, didn't you know that? This is what we do.
It runs in the blood. That's really cool.
So later on, I called it designer jeans. And
There you go. There you go. You must have had, even though they were divorced, a good relationship with both. You must have spent time with both of them then.
Yeah, well, I always say that I married my divorced parents' talents because when they did break up, when my dad decided to be alone, which he wasn't really being, I suddenly felt like I had a divorce within me, that if they couldn't stay together, how could I stay together as a person? And then I realized I had to learn how to put those different sides of each one of them and make them come together in a way that I could be happy. And so I feel like my life is very much a beautiful bridge between the many things I learned and experienced, and also all the difficulties I had growing up with very emotional, intense people with, just the right amount of neurosis to make me a thoughtful person.
I have just enough neurosis to make my kids very thoughtful people. They are also products of a divorced home, and they've had to bridge those parts of themselves.
See what a giver you are to
I
them?
think that's,
I
know, I'm so kind. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But no, I think that is the challenge that children face. I think they do have to find a way to marry those parts of themselves and come to peace with that.
Well, I sometimes felt like I was like a Picasso painting.
Yep.
But, that was the beauty of those great artists, is that they taught us that there was a beauty in things that didn't all fit perfectly and neatly, that there actually is beauty in rearranging what we're given. We don't have to inherit the legacy of our parents and just blindly make the same mistakes, carry the same burdens. We can actually have a choice in how what we learn from them and what we discard from them.
For sure. And I think that part of what makes us so beautiful individually and that feels so good when we come together is the fact that there are pieces of us that are broken a little bit, that we've had to heal ourselves.
Well, there are many authors that have written about that. That's how the light comes in. I know.
Oh, what a cool concept, because it creates cracks where you can, Oh, that's so cool. Okay. So the fact that you and your sister became pretty famous, and both of you are going to be singing at Arts Garage soon.
That's right.
Not too far away,
excited.
which is a new thing for us, and I'm thrilled.
Yes.
How does that impact your relationship together?
It impacts our relationship together incredibly well, because Liz and I, while we loved each other as kids, we were very different. And my sister, I was so passionate about learning and finding things out and exploring my creativity. And my sister didn't have the same groundedness initially that I did. And so she would walk around the house going, "I'm bored." And I would be like, "Bored? How can you be bored? There's nothing to be bored about." But we were very affectionate and very sweet to each other. My sister was very shy about singing. We had to spy on her to hear her sing.
I'll be darned.
So when I served my 2 years of acting, being an acting major at U of I, and the teachers were so mean and bullying to all of us and discouraging they said only 1% of actors work, so we're going to get rid of all the people who aren't going to make it. So
they must have written that into the curriculum, because at UVA they told us the same thing.
Did they really?
It's why I didn't try.
Well, that's such a
because I thought
crime.
If 1% can make a living at it, and that's not even the ones who become famous, is what they told us.
Right, and
1% cannot wait tables.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, those are really huge mistakes to make.
I think so too, for
because
educators.
People have not only so many different ways of blossoming, but everybody's got a different plot line. I mean, I came to New York wanting to be on Broadway, and 21 years later, I became a overnight sensation. That was my plot line. My sister got into a Sondheim Broadway show when she was 19 years old. And so, but Liz and I became much closer after I went to college and she visited me, and our parents had broken up, and it was very, very disturbing to us both. And so that we suddenly started to feel a deeper connection as blooming adults. And then when I decided to move to New York, my sister was in college at University of Cincinnati, CCU, and I had auditioned for that program to try to get in as a junior. And 15 of my friends, including my sister, got in, but I was not accepted. So that was a very destructive moment for me. I decided, well, I'm going to create my own education. I'm going to move to New York and start living my dreams and see what happens. She decided at the last minute she wanted to move to New York too. And I thought, but this is my dream. Why are you doing this? And then, thank goodness, because we really started to become truly good friends, but we didn't start singing together until several years later. And I think part of it was we didn't want to be compared. We were afraid, like, what would happen if one person was getting more kudos than the other? Our relationship was so important. We were afraid to rock that boat. And finally, Donald Smith said, "Can you guys come up with a show? I want to see you perform." And we looked at each other and said, yes. So
what a great idea.
And we did. And that was what really brought us through the years so much closer. We're best friends to this day. And
I think that's awesome.
And I love the fact that we're so different. We look different, we sound different, but together we create something so magical with our differences that the audiences really pick up on.
It's got to feel, I'm very excited to see that show, because I can't imagine as a performer what that must feel like, because you have such a shared history, right?
Yes.
This family history and experiences, especially the traumatic ones. You share those, right?
Yes.
And your journeys to become performers in your own rights,
right.
Yes. I think that has got to be just a magical feeling when you're singing with her on the stage.
It is. And we'll frequently say that if I or Liz forgets a word, we were so in touch with each other, we will sing the wrong lyric together.
Oh, how funny.
We sort of share the same angel. And right now we're doing something really fabulous. Liz decided, she used to make fun of me for writing poetry and journaling growing up. And now she's the one that said, hey, let's write a journal together. And this wonderful author, I always mispronounce her name, but she has a fabulous book. Forgive me for not remembering her name. Suli, something like that.
Okay.
100 essays to prompt us. And we share that every day. We journal in our different cities, Liz in Croton-on-Hudson, me in Tucson. And then we take pictures of our journals after we're finished journaling. And so
that's brilliant.
For over a year, we've been doing this. And that's just the shared intimacy of not starting your day with email and
news,
all that stuff.
Yeah.
No, the first thing we do is have the beauty and freedom of the creative moment of whatever we want to say. And so I've been choosing quotes lately and writing a poem every single day. And it's really been an incredible experience.
I find it very therapeutic. I'm a writer. That's my only real talent. You never want to hear me sing.
Oh, but I want to read your writing. So
it's dark.
Okay.
I write when I'm upset about something, so it tends to be dark, and I tend to curse a lot. Sorry, so I won't be reading it on the podcast. But
that sounds human and real.
And I've never really performed it or anything. And
why?
Because I'm afraid. I think I'm afraid.
You should follow your fear.
I think
Marjorie,
that is really good advice. And I think I do it as a leader at Arts Garage. I follow my fear.
Okay.
I feel fearless in my business life, But personally, there's some kind of
now,
cracks in there.
I know this is about me, but I really want to know, why do you think that is?
It is a result of, I believe, of how I was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And we should do a podcast just about that, right? But I wouldn't want my dad to hear. I think
So you think he couldn't cope with the truth?
I'm pretty confident that that's the case.
Well, but he would have to try to cope with it, and maybe he would fail, or maybe he might surprise you.
He would try. And he's very loving and one of the few people I know in my entire life who has done more work on themselves to become a better person. We have a beautiful relationship now. It's lovely. So I kind of just hate taking him back there. I think he's aware, and I think I don't want to take him back there.
Well, my philosophy of life is tell the truth with love, and if you don't know how to do that, wait until you figure it out. So if you can be real with your father in a loving way and introduce him gently to this part of who you are and put it into context that he won't feel threatened by it or take it too personally. And if there's any forgiveness that's involved, if he has something to do with that dynamic in you.
I have definitely forgiven him.
Okay.
And my mother for anything that I perceived as
a huge
whatever
accomplishment.
And I think that's why I'm able to be successful in my career. And I've done the work on a couch. You know what I mean? I've done that too. So I'm able now to identify what holds back my personal interest.
Okay, but
in the
you
past,
don't always
I wouldn't
do
have.
something about it.
That doesn't mean I do something about it.
Well, here we are on this
Damn it, man.
podcast,
Now I'm getting a therapy session.
I'm making you no, it's not a therapy session. we're having a friendly moment. But no, I think, and I hate to say this, but I think a lot of women in particular are people pleasers. And, what if someone doesn't love me as much? Or what if I hurt someone's feelings? But again, if you can tell the truth with love and find a way to do that, then you can pretty much do anything. And it will be received in a way that it gives possibilities to growth and also a deeper relationship with that person.
I think you're very right, and I think I'll try to practice it. What's the phrase you said with fear? Follow your fear?
Follow your fear.
Yeah, I'm gonna make that my mantra. Maybe I'll put it on a wooden sign in my office in my bedroom when I see it first thing. But I do think that is powerful.
Yes,
I think that is powerful because fear is what keeps people apart from each other. It keeps you from healing completely, 100%. 100%.
Well, I think it would be really good if we all understood fear better, because I've grew up with a father who shared so much about how you could die and all the things that there are mean people, there are crazy people.
Oh my gosh,
so the stories he brought home of his trials and tribulations touring around the world and interviewing people, the civil rights movement, all the violence, the wars. I am so aware of what could go wrong. And so I call myself a worried optimist.
Yes.
But on the other hand, I also am always believing in good possibilities. And I always look for the silver linings, no matter how grim things look.
Well, we have to, right? Or then you kind of give up if you don't try to find the beauty that is right out the door, maybe, or right next to you in the chair sitting next to you, right?
Yes.
So I think you're spot on there. Spot on. Okay. So
did I take you on a different
I'm going back to
system?
my questions.
That's what happens.
So I want to talk about both performance and songwriting, right? So you've written a lot of your own music.
Yes.
But you also perform favorites, like Barbara.
I am a champion of the Great American Songbook. And I am also a champion of, in particular, the singer-songwriters of the 70s who were my wake-up call to being a songwriter. And then some contemporary singer-songwriters that I love. But I think I am a creator and an interpreter, and I'm a Gemini, so I have to make my twins happy.
Do you have a favorite, though? Do you prefer, like, if you were on this stage and had the choice, didn't have to give marketing information to Marjorie at Arts Garage to market the show, what would you sing if you had one song you could sing?
Well, it would depend on the moment. I mean, I have a favorite song. It's Over the Rainbow by Harold Arlen.
Love that
and
one.
I like to sing it a cappella. And there's always something that is magical. And part of it, the magic is that I feel that music is the bridge between heaven and earth. So I sing it for my angels, and angels appear at different times, and it's a really extraordinary experience. But if I always say I'm happiest when I can combine all of my talents at the same time. So if I can sing a song that I wrote that I feel very passionate about, and nobody can sing it the way I can because it came from the marrow of my being.
Right.
But that's when I'm happiest. However, like you, I have my fear of, what if people don't want to hear something new? What if they just feel more comfortable hearing everything that's familiar, even if I'm putting a fresh stamp on it? And when I came up with my show, with my latest CD, Finding Beauty Originals Volume 1, I had to sing my original songs. And many people, I combined them with some of my 70s inspirations. But many people told me my favorite moment of the show was when you did your own song. So I started to feel more confident. Don't be so shy about sharing your music. Was Joni Mitchell shy about sharing her music?
No.
Her whole career was sharing her music.
That's right.
And occasionally singing people she was inspired by, like Lambert Hendricks and Ross and Twisted, etc. So I'm dealing with my fear. But I also love improvising songs, and I love taking the moment, and that's one of my favorite things to do, to honor the moment and have no net. Just go in the moment, have an audience help me write a song, or not have an audience help me write a song.
I wanted to make sure, in case people listening haven't seen you perform.
If you're a Callaway virgin, where have you been?
You should show up at a show at Arts Garage if you haven't seen her, or anywhere else. But what I've seen you do multiple times is you take a notebook, you sit at the piano, you take a notebook, and you write with a pencil phrases from the audience.
That's right, yes.
That they shout out. And then you compose in real time a song that actually makes sense and sounds good, although it's almost always funny because they give you ridiculous things to challenge you, right?
Yes.
They're confident that you won't be able to use.
Right, like colostomy bag and shoes to match. Yeah.
For example,
Yes,
know, so it's one of the most remarkable things I've seen. That's got to be a letting go of any fear you might be feeling.
Well, we were talking about intuition, and when I was 12 years old, it was summer. I was living in Riverdale in the Bronx, and I was reading a book called Tarantula by Bob Dylan, a novel, his only novel, as far as I know.
Now, I did not know that existed.
Well, most people don't. But what I loved about this novel was that he wrote it all in free association, and I thought, I want to learn how to do that. So I started journaling with free association, and that's how I really discovered how rich a human mind can be, and anybody can do it. I don't care what you do for a living. You can start to write the first thing that comes to mind, and you will be astonished at what comes out of you. Everybody has an artist waiting inside of them to discover.
In the midst of my mom's health crisis in the last 3 years of her life, I helped a lot. I flew to Raleigh, and I tried to juggle both assisting my parents and running Arts Garage.
Wow.
My escape from that was I started a book called I Think About Death a Lot.
Oh, I love that. I have to read that.
And it's not finished.
Okay.
I'll give you a chapter. But it was kind of from that perspective. Just like I opened my brain and let whoever might my fear would allow me to read, right? Could just see what I was thinking, and it was free association. So it just travels through my thoughts in whatever rabbit hole I might go down.
Yes.
That usually lands back at the beginning of the purpose of the chapter, you know?
Right, that's wonderful.
So I think you're right. I think free association, even if you're not trying to put it together for someone else to read, is a great way to deal with the things you're experiencing.
It is, and what I haven't talked about with you yet is that I believe that art is a duet between effort and grace.
Ooh, talk more.
I'm a very spiritual person. I have an Indian guru named Guru Maya Chidvilasananda, and I met her in 1991, and I've been reading Eastern religion, which is more philosophy in a way, since I was a kid. And I do believe when I'm writing and doing anything, especially creatively, that you can call it God, you can call it the creative force, you can call it a higher power, but I do feel a strong relationship with that in my life. And I honor it and I welcome it. And I can't tell you how many times I've done shows when I feel so tired or sick. Or how am I going to do this? I invite grace. Please sing with me. Take over my body. Let's do the show together. And I get out there on the stage and I be like, who was this person that was singing? You know,
isn't that something?
It really is an amazing thing. And when I'm writing, the less thinking, the better, because that grace has just this wonderful ease about discovering things that I like, wow, I didn't know I thought that. Well, maybe it wasn't just me thinking it, but I don't know. It's all a mystery. So that kind of sensibility has made everything in my life very rich.
Well, and I think a lot of people would identify with that because regardless of what faith you follow or practice.
Or don't follow,
yeah. There's something that comforts you, right?
Yes.
And helps maybe take away some of that fear that stifles your ability to accept grace.
Oh, yeah.
And the angels, you know?
Well, you really can't feel fear when you allow that energy.
That's
because
right.
It's like a freedom. There's a tremendous freedom in allying, and is that the right word? In combining and joining forces with that special energy. Whatever it is, I'm very grateful for it.
I think if you are aligning yourself with that external force.
Or internal, you know.
Or internally, or all together, you know?
Yes.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about this a little bit before we started recording. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the meaning of art to individual people, right? I've heard what it means to you and why it's powerful and even how it intersects with your faith and your family. Mm-hmm. How do you think the audience members in your show benefit from your performances? Or what would you like to think that they got from your performances?
Well, I spent most of my life singing and creating and talking to people on stages and in recordings, etc. And I love, because I immediately feel like an audience is they're my friends I don't know yet. And then with some people that I do know. And I love that they enter a room and perhaps they're strangers. And by the end of the night, we've shared so many common human experiences through the worlds of great songs or personal songs, however the songs are chosen, and the stories, which I think is a wonderful part of at least what I've discovered in my performance style, that it's very exciting to see how people, like, I love when straight men cry at my songs and they feel safe. It's like, oh, they feel like their heart is open and they're laughing together and they are crying together and they're experiencing their common humanity. They're forgetting about their problems or having new ideas about their problems. And they look around the room and they feel like they're a part of something, and we are a part of something.
Agreed.
And I think that a lot of times when you choose good songs and you tell the truth and you're who you are honestly with an audience, that gives people the feeling of not being alone and feeling like, oh, I'm not the only one who feels that way. And that creates courage, it creates connection, it creates community, it creates hope. I think the arts are extraordinarily important because there's a reason why art is in the word heart. Mm-hmm. And it's really, I think, at the heart of who we are. And, you know, I think sports are a very unifying thing, too. When people root for a team and they watch people work hard to be excellent at something, and they've put themselves in the shoes of these athletes. I think people they're singing with me when I'm on that stage. And I love my audiences, and there's just a beautiful surprise each time I have a show and what happens. I never know what's going to happen.
It's really magical.
It is magical.
And I think that what you refer to of that openness, when you're on the stage, you might be singing an original song that we don't know, or you might be singing a Barbra Streisand classic or something else from the American Songbook.
Excuse me, you dropped a name. Let me pick it up.
Yes. Which is coming soon. I think we're sold out. I don't know if anybody could even get a ticket.
Out. Yeah.
This will be after the fact anyway, so sorry. You'll have to watch for the next time and get tickets early. But when you're on this stage, it doesn't matter really what you're performing. you feel first like a human being.
Mm-hmm.
You interact with everyone in the room in a way that shows how open you are
Mm-hmm.
and honest you are, I think. And I think I see that response. That's how I feel anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I see the response from your Uber fans, because you really do have thousands of people that you've sung to in Arts Garage
Mm-hmm.
in Delray Beach, let alone the hundreds of thousands you've sung to in the world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're creating something that people feel part of when you perform.
And I think the more you can be yourself, and we're all quirky.
Yeah, we are.
Nobody is like, nobody's a Barbie doll. And if they are, well, why would you want to be a Barbie doll? The point is to be you. And
Mm-hmm.
I've worked hard at allowing myself to be me. And it's been a bumpy and interesting ride. And I think that once we have the courage to tell our story, then how it becomes the alchemy of that, and how other people are touched, and what they write to me, and how we become friends. I mean, the friendships I've developed through the years with people who have connected with my music is extraordinary, and really amazing people that have enriched my life. And I feel so honored to feel like I live a life where everywhere I go, people that I have fallen in love with, there's someone to enjoy. And if I don't know anybody in that place, I will meet someone that will be somebody who is important to me. And so I feel like the Pied Piper of love and friendship in a way through music.
And I think that the ripple effect, you see some of it in how people respond to you, right?
Uh-huh.
So you receive fan mail or notes on social media or whatever to tell
Or
you
after,
the impact.
after the show, we connect
Right.
and laugh and joke.
Right.
Sometimes go out for drinks.
Sometimes people don't tell you,
Right,
but I
yeah.
believe the ripple effect after they leave the space in which you're performing is significant. And I think it rolls over into a more macro sense into the community,
Yes,
which is another
I
thing I want
agree.
you to talk about.
Yeah.
How can the arts heal, change, better a community? What's the value? Arts are under attack from the federal level down, especially public funding of arts.
Yeah, it's very
And
sad.
so organizations like Arts Garage are trying to tell our stories better so that we can generate more private donors, frankly, and support ticket buyers
Right, yes.
so that we don't lose any ground and we can continue to be a community resource.
Yeah.
So
And you do that very well. I've sung for so many different venues, and I think you're one of the most successful people who really had an effective outreach in your community. It's very powerful.
that means a lot to me because it's been a labor of love for 10 years now. If you can believe it, I've been in Arts Garage 10 years.
Wow.
It's our 15th anniversary this month.
Amazing.
So pretty cool. That's a pretty cool legacy. And I hope that we can solidify it despite the obstacles we believe we're facing. Why are the arts important to community? Why do we need the arts?
Well, I think it's extremely important to a community to have the arts because, again, it's the way that hearts connect with each other, and it's a way that people build closeness with themselves emotionally, with their families, with their friends, with where they live, and they feel a sense, even if you don't know everybody in an audience, you feel this sense of, oh, I'm proud to be here. Look what I got to experience tonight. What a wonderful place. It makes me feel good about life. And when people feel that sense of magic, we have so much drudgery in our lives. And when people can experience magic, whether it's music, theater, dance, art, literature, and then connect with people, oh, there's that person who was at the show, or there's that person who I saw at the museum, or there's a sense of togetherness. And I don't want to totally complain about how the arts are so underfunded by the government. We, the people in each community, we are the heartbeat of life.
Agreed.
And so how we help each other to have joy in life, how we find ways to share who we are together. And art is one of the most beautiful ways to share that. And so many people find out in their lives, oh, I never knew I could do this. I never knew I could sing.
sure.
I never knew I could play the piano. I never knew I could, write a song. There are so many things that people are capable of that I think the art it's the great humanizer. It it breaks all barriers. It makes us one. And the more we can connect with each other, understand each other, celebrate each other.
In safe spaces.
In safe spaces, yeah, the better. Yeah.
The better. I agree with you 100%.
And why did I love living in New York City for so long? I just felt so alive because there were so many different types of people in one city that were doing so many fascinating things. And I would walk down the street and just feel the world's my lover. And a lot of the reason I felt that way about New York is because of the arts. And I feel that way about every place I travel. I think the world is an incredibly beautiful place because of all the people I've met through music. And I wish more people realized how beautiful the world is. We don't get to hear about that in the headlines, but really there's a lot of truly amazingly wonderful people in this world.
I would agree with you 100%.
And again, the arts community and people who do what you do, who help put a spotlight on encouraging talent. And you're the gardeners of the soul.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
It's a nice metaphor. Okay, so when you're as creative as you are, because you write poetry, you do this creative journaling that you share with your sister, you write songs for yourself or for Fran Drescher, you perform all the time, or Barbara Streisand, or, all these amazing icons. By the way,
she hates when people, she said when I wrote her patter for her Millennium concert, she said, well, Anne, help people learn how to say it's like sand on the beach, not Streisand like sand on the beach.
Oh,
I said, you just wrote your own patter, Barbara. So.
Okay, well, good. Yeah, so are you one of these people that's really hard to get to finish a menial task in the house? Like, do you drop the mop because you got to go write a song suddenly?
I'm very dutiful. I take my chores very seriously. I like a clean kitchen. I like,
But it's got to be hard to juggle it all.
It is hard to juggle it. I'm trying to find a better way. My sister and I are always comparing notes. Well, how do you wake up in the morning? What do you do? When do you do this? I am happiest when I do one thing at a time. I don't want to have to so when at night, I just want to be like, if I'm home, I just want to relax. I've worked hard all day long doing my office job as a diva.
Yes, it's a good job to have.
People have no idea what a huge job it is.
Good work if you can get it.
So... yeah, it's about finding what works for you. And so I'm always studying brilliant people and the books that are written about how to achieve more and do less, or how to do something that's you don't really like, but how to do it better. Or why don't you like it? Like the Atomic Habits. That's a wonderful book that's helped me start to think in new systems. How can I be happier at sharing my creativity and making the things that are the most important to me? Always have time for that instead of letting yourself be responding to every emergency and everybody. The problem with social media and internet and all of that is it is such a messy spider web sometimes. And sometimes you have to create time where you are not available to that.
100%.
So you can be in the moment and when those times are sacred, you get a lot more accomplished.
Yeah. It's funny to hear you talk about it because from the outside looking in, I can't imagine what you could possibly have to work on as a performer or a singer in particular. But as a human being, I've seen so much beauty since I met you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm so grateful for that.
Well, thank you very much. I can be very cranky when things don't work.
You and me both, sister.
You would not want to see me when my computer is not working or when I try to book a flight and the website isn't working. It's like, really?
Yeah, no, I get cranky too.
The speed bumps of life.
Yes.
The minutia is my downfall. And so I started to think, maybe I should let someone else do that. Maybe that's not my strength and I should delegate.
As I get older, I'm willing to try harder to not do the things that irritate me.
Yes.
I don't care enough to do them. I pass them on to somebody else.
Yes.
Ask my team.
Yes.
And they will tell you how disappointed they are that I've taken this attitude because I pass all these things I don't want to do to my team members at Arts Garage or to my son who still lives with me.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think you got to find a way to weather through that. But I would imagine that your creative impulses, to me, it feels like it would be almost ADHD in nature, that you would be having these creative impulses all day
to that effect, what I've learned is if you get an idea, write it down immediately. or tape it or whatever. That could be such a gift that just dropped into your lap. And if you don't seize that moment, make lists like, okay, I can't do this right now, but this is what I think. This would be a great idea for a song. I want to sing this in my next show. I have to learn more about this artist that inspires me. You know, the things that really make you those aha moments,
Yes.
you need to really put that on something that can live there. And I use my notes app on my iPhone, and I have so many things that are really important that I can immediately look up. Well, what was that movie I should see?
Yeah.
What was that song title that I need to write?
Isn't that interesting?
So it doesn't have to happen at that moment, but it has to live in that moment when you get the idea. It has to have some real estate somewhere so that
You can recall it and bring it back to life when it's time.
Yeah. But sometimes I'll just go to the piano and go, I have to write that song now.
Okay.
I wrote a song with Amanda McBroom in pajamas with her friends over at breakfast time, and she gave me the lyric. I said, let's all go into the studio. And we put the tape recorder on, and it was exactly the music that I improvised to her lyric is exactly what we recorded as a single.
Isn't that magical?
Yeah, so that was an example of do it in the moment and don't question it. Just let it happen.
I have enjoyed this so much. We've talked plenty of time,
Yes,
and I don't want to keep you from having a fun evening in Delray Beach tonight.
Oh, I always love being here.
And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making time for me today.
Well, I thank you for making time for me because I love every time we've ever had a conversation, but this is the richest conversation we've had. And I look forward to more. Thank you so much for all you do.
Me too. Thank you so much. So for those of you listening, if you have not seen Ann Hampton Callaway perform, whether you do it at Arts Garage, which is where I always hope you spend your money, or whether you do it somewhere else, I hope you will go see her sing because it is a night of magic that you will not forget. And if you're paying attention to this podcast, for heaven's sakes, like it. Give us a review, follow us, and check out some of the other episodes. And if you have an idea for another guest or a topic, email us at info@artsgarage.org. I hope to see you really soon. Thank you so much. And you too.